Imagine a city where there are no streets, no front doors, no space between houses. A city where people don't walk on the ground but move across rooftops. Where every home is connected and every step is taken above another family's life. And beneath those homes lie the dead. This is Atalhaik, a place that existed around 7500 BC. A place so old, it predates writing, metal tools, and even the idea of cities as we understand them today. In the dry plains of central Turkey, near modern-day Konya, a strange mound rises from the earth. For centuries, it looked like nothing more than a hill. No ruins, no standing walls, no visible signs of a lost civilization. But this mound was not natural. It was built, slowly, over thousands of years, as generations of people constructed homes, lived their lives, and then built new homes directly on top of the old ones, layer after layer, life over life, until the entire city became a hill. When archaeologists finally began excavating the site in the 1960s, they uncovered something extraordinary, a settlement unlike anything ever seen before. There were no streets, no alleys, no public squares. Instead, there were houses, tightly packed together, wall against wall, forming a dense honeycomb of human life. You couldn't walk between the buildings, because there was no space to walk. The ground level was not meant for movement. The rooftops were. To move through the city, people climbed ladders, stepping out onto flat mud brick roofs, and walked from house to house across the entire settlement. The city existed above itself. Each home was entered not through a door, but through an opening in the roof. A person would climb down a wooden ladder, descending into the living space below. It was a design that feels strange today, but it was intentional. Without streets, the city became more secure. Wild animals could not easily enter. Strangers could not simply walk in. The community was elevated, protected, and connected. Inside the homes, life was far from primitive. Walls were carefully plastered, often painted white. Raised platforms lined the sides of rooms, used for sleeping, sitting, and working. There were ovens for baking bread, hearths for warmth and cooking, and storage areas for food and tools. These were not temporary shelters, they were permanent homes, built with care, rebuilt over generations, and maintained as the center of daily life. But the most shocking discovery was hidden beneath the floors, because beneath those platforms were graves. In Atalhaik, the dead were not taken outside the city. They were not buried in distant cemeteries. They remained inside the home. When someone died, their body was placed in a pit, usually curled into a fetal position, as if returning to the womb. The grave was then sealed, and life continued above it. Families ate, slept, talked, and lived directly over their ancestors. In some homes, multiple burials were found beneath the same room, generations of a family layered beneath the floor. This was not seen as strange. For the people of Atalhaik, the dead were still part of the household. They were not gone. They remained present beneath every step. Some skulls were even removed after burial, cleaned and possibly displayed, suggesting rituals, beliefs, and a deep connection to those who had passed. Death here was not an ending. It was a continuation. As archaeologists dug deeper, they uncovered something even more surprising: art. Not simple markings, but detailed paintings covering the walls of these ancient homes, scenes of wild animals, hunters chasing prey, geometric patterns, and mysterious symbols whose meanings are still debated today. Some paintings appear to show erupting volcanoes, possibly the earliest known landscape art in human history. Others depict large bulls, their horns sometimes mounted on walls, turning homes into spaces filled with symbolic power. These were not random decorations, they were expressions of belief. identity, and perhaps even storytelling. Each house was not just a place to live. It was a space of meaning, a place where life, death, and culture were deeply connected. What makes Atalik even more fascinating is what it does not have. There are no clear signs of kings, no palaces, no massive temples dominating the city. There is no obvious hierarchy. Homes are similar in size. Structures are consistent. This suggests something unusual for such an ancient settlement, a society that may have been relatively equal. No ruling elite towering above the rest, no grand monuments to power. Instead, a community built on shared space, shared labor, and shared life. People farmed the land, growing wheat and barley, domesticating animals, while still hunting wild game. They lived at a turning point in human history, when humans were shifting from hunting and gathering to settled life. Attalhike stands at that moment of change, a bridge between two worlds, and yet, for all its advancement, for all its unique design, the city did not last forever. After thousands of years, it was abandoned. No signs of a sudden disaster, no clear evidence of invasion, just a gradual decline. People left and never returned. The rooftops fell, the walls crumbled, and the city was slowly swallowed by the earth. For thousands of years, it slept in silence, until it was found again. Today, as we uncover its secrets, Attalhike challenges everything we thought we knew. It shows us that cities did not begin with kings, or monuments, or written laws. They began with people, with families, with shared spaces, with life built closely together, both above and below. It reminds us that civilization is not just about structures, but about connection. And in this ancient rooftop city, we see a version of humanity that is both unfamiliar and deeply recognizable.